I loved it when she got her shoelace caught way earlier in the movie in the escalator. And I'm like, oh, is this when it happens? You know, like it, but again, it's I like it like up until it really happens. And then I'm like, oh, it could have been better.
And they built real legs to get squished. A dude from K&B, you know, their makeup effects built functional legs that they ground up. But then they just CGI'd all over it. But all right. What can we find that's positive about The Final Destination?
I will say again, like now that I've seen it, I've probably seen The Final Destination start to finish sitting 5 or 6 times now in my life. Right? Oh yeah. Yeah, because I really dug these movies when they were coming out, and then I'd usually rewatch them before each new one came out. And I saw the part 4 twice, just in preparation to chat about it. Right, so I've seen it a good bit, and again, every time I've seen it, I have hated it less.
Oh, okay. So
just because I know exactly where all my disappointments are. So they don't surprise me with disappointment. I don't know how to put it better than that. It's so I forgive it a little more now, but it is still a destitute Final Destination movie. This is to the Final Destination franchise what Wrong Turn 3 or 6 is to the Wrong Turn franchise. It's just like some random throwaway that you just gave the franchise name.
Do you want to hear something fun about Final Destination 4?
Something fun? All right. Yeah. Give me fun Final Destination 4.
So Glenn McPherson was the director of photography on Resident Evil 4 and the final chapter, which were 3D. How do you feel about that?
And he was on this?
Yeah, and they just completely forgot how to use it.
Unfortunate.
And then James Hinkle, the production designer, did Shark Night 3D, Cellular, Passenger 57, Snakes on a Plane, Varsity Blues, Ready to Rumble, Perfect Score, Scream, and Hatchet 3. So the production designer did that. What do you think?
I think that they cashed in their mulligan after this movie to stay in business. But yeah,
go for it.
No, it's not good. Like so I made a joke on the Facebook page even. So again, I think that this is a watchable throwaway horror flick, right? If you don't know this is a Final Destination sequel, like if we just take that out, I think that people could, you know, if you just randomly watched this and you never heard of it and it was just called, I don't know, 8 people die randomly, I think that people would enjoy it more. Yeah. So, but I call this the 8th best Final Destination film.
Yeah, I had a good laugh. I said it was the 45th.
Right. I think that's what makes it so upsettingly bad is when you compare it to source material, it hurts even more. It twists the knife of any bad quality.
I think I can see how it went wrong, though. I think they fell in love with the 3D technology, and they just thought, we want to make this 3D pop, and we want to, like, it's a newer technology. We want to have some fun with this. So let's build I think they went in it with a very pure of heart style, right? But I think they just forgot about characters and everything in midst of their lust for 3D, trying to figure it out.
This writing was so horrible for part 4.
I just think they built it around the 3D. They didn't. Does that make sense? They were like, okay, these are the shots we need, and let's just write a story around it.
Yeah, I mean, so remember part 3, the dude basically just comes on the screen at some point and he's like, oh, hey, by the way, I looked online and this happened to a bunch of other people and this is how you deal with it. And all of a sudden he knows how to deal with it and we got to look for the signs and everything.
Yeah.
Like he had a minute and then now it was like Neo knowing Kung Fu. Like now we know how to deal with this. Whereas in this movie, though, it's somehow worsely written than that in part 4 because our premonition guy just says basically like, wait a minute, like I just saw this. Okay, we all need, like he all of a sudden knows the reality of it all and how to deal with it all. And that was just like aggravating.
And he and his girlfriend,
no one ever worked together.
Yeah, they're like, we did some Googling last night. That's a line in the movie. We did some Googling.
Yeah.
Lori and Nick. But I don't know. I think Lori and Nick did the best they could. I think maybe Janet's the worst character of the franchise. Michael T. Williamson or Michael T. Williamson? He had a backstory at least. He was an alcoholic and he was trying not to be an alcoholic. So at least he had a story.
That was Bubba from the Bubba Gump Shrimp Company. Dude, so I looked that up, by the way. I was blown away that dude was from Forrest Gump, and now I'm seeing him in the 8th best Final Destination movie.
Hey, get that paycheck. But the thing is, these movies were hits. So when they made this film, so they wanted the guys who did 3 back, but they were working on the Dragon Ball movie. So they brought back Ellis to do this. And this movie had a budget. I mean, the budget of this movie was $40 million. That's pretty big for a horror film. I mean, you got like Annabelle Comes Home. That's like 12, 15. Like these movies don't. It's expensive.
And a decade later.
Yeah, I mean, it's expensive so this was coming off the success of the third one, which was a success. So it had support. It's interesting.
I wish it didn't.
Well, how about this? Let's ponder that for a second. And when we come back, we'll talk more Final Destination 5. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. And was that an explosion, John?
Hold on. It's raining guts right now.
Did you blow up your neighbors again?
Oh, you see, I heard that explosion. It started raining guts. I just assumed you were trying to get the Final Destination out of your system, so you pulled down your pants and sat down on a pool drain.
Oh, and arguing with this little kid who says no in weird ways. That dead meat. I listened to that, and that kid, when he says no, he's like, no, no. Have you heard him say no?
Dude, I feel like he's just a weaker iteration of the $2 kid.
$2. I got done 4 minutes ago. Such a caricature of a character, isn't he?
Dude, when he said that, when he's like, I got done 4 minutes ago, his sex scene, and I'm not trying to have a Mr. Skin discussion here, but, you know, there's a sex scene, you see boobs and all that, and the way that he behaves is every bit as just morally reprehensible as Trent from Friday the 13th remake with Juliana Guill.
But Trent means what he's saying. Does that make sense? Like Trent's...
I guess that's true, yeah. Yeah, he's just, yeah, he has no filter, whereas this guy, he not only doesn't care about the girl, but then he says something to even be meaner. I finished like 4 minutes ago.
Yeah, I think Trent is being... Like, he's gonna leave poor Juliana behind. He's not a good guy, but at least during this scene, I feel like he's telling the truth, right? He's right. Not like making someone feel terrible. Does that make sense? Even though he's doing is not good.
And Hunt, and I only know Hunt's name because I wrote about his comparison to Trent when I wrote a review for this. That's the only reason I remember this dude's name. But like Hunt, he is in a cabana. First off, why is there a cabana at what appears to be a public school, like a public pool? That doesn't look like some nice swim club or like it's in the back of his yacht club that his family is members of. This just seems like there's a weak little fence, and then there's the parking lot, and the people seem, not to make fun of them, this is what I would go to, but like it seems like, you know, pedestrian people, like, you know, it's not like some high society thing. But then there's a cabana there, like you're at a Vegas pool, and he is having sex in it. And when he walks out, he like walks right past a mom and her 6-year-old.
Yeah, he's a skeezy dude. And then you have just random bikini clad women in high heels walking around in the background of this pool.
They're just there. So he'd be like, "Hey, ladies,
hey, I'm Trent. No, wait, I'm Hunt.
I'm Hunt. Right? They're the same. They are brothers, is what it is.
Trent Hunt.
They are brothers where no matter what mean skeezy thing that one of them says, the other one just goes, nice one. And then they fist bump or chest bump or something.
Do you think in the Friday the 13th remake that Jason hates gentrification? Because that house is a mansion, and it's probably only a mile away from his home. And people are encroaching on his territory, so he's becoming murderous?
I mean, I have no problem with that hypothesis. I never stopped to think about it. You know what? Wait. It's just occurring to me. So the dude who plays Nathan in part 5.
Yeah.
He played Lawrence. I think that was the character's name.
Yep.
In the remake of Friday the 13th.
And he's a good dude. He's a good dude in both. And he puts up a fight against Jason. Jason has to resort to BS axe throwing. Like he gets away from Jason.
It was an impressive throw. I couldn't throw with half that accuracy. And then, do you think he practices?
Oh, of course. He's an archer. So I did the math. We can talk about this later, but after he kills Lawrence, he gets up on a roof in 3 seconds.
Right.
He does a super jump, and he doesn't. You never hear a noise. So he does.
Yeah. Well, if you had better sound equipment though, you'd hear him go parkour, As he goes up the wall.
He just does a triple Lindy onto the roof. I don't get it.
You just hear,
It's wait, what's that from?
I don't know, just saying parkour. I just remember when parkour got popular. Remember how like your friends who would be like out of shape would just like put their hands on like a bike rack and then hop and be like parkour.
And that's a really good tie-in you did with Lawrence from Final Destination 5, because I love the scene in the funeral where David Koechner's naming all the names, and he names one of the guys that's still alive.
He's alive.
And then it's kind of funny. He's like Isaac Palmer, and the guy's like, what? And then Lawrence from Friday the 13th goes, I see dead people. And then the lady starts laughing. I mean, that was a funny scene. Like, did he just say like this writer dude is Oscar nominated? He got an Oscar nomination for writing Arrival. Like, the guy's a good writer.
Yeah, all the characters, even David Koechner's character, who's kind of like a toxic. I want to say like a toxic kind of alpha wannabe guy. Like, he says some things, and when you first see him interact with someone, you might giggle, but you're like, that's just a disfigure. But then he does other stuff like that, and you just kind of bask in him being just like a sharp-tongued jerk.
Who calls up Agent what's his bucket every
block.
Every block. Hey, I was pretty close. Every time something weird goes. Now, Agent Block, he's like, hey man, he's like, that's a premonition. Like, it sounds like you did this in advance and you planned it. He's like, what?
That sounds premeditated to me.
Yeah. It's like, wait, what? Why? Yeah, I don't know why Block is in this movie, but then I guess he gets shot in the end, which is a weird death.
I liked his writing though, and his execution, even though a lot of things that character did felt out of place. I really liked the way that he nailed his lines, and it reminded me of kind of like the character likability of Agents Shrek. And the other guy, the Jay Leno guy. What's his name?
Donkey.
He played Jay Leno in The Late Shift. But those two guys from the first Final Destination, I feel like he was the first investigator to kind of make that feel good again, the way he was going about it. And maybe he was just doing the thing that's kind of, maybe it's a little reality or maybe it's more trope. I don't know which the case, because I've never been investigated for a crime. But we're like, they're saying things, they're just trying to catch you. They're always over accusing you, it sounds premeditated to me. I think that's what he was doing. He just didn't have someone in the room to be bad cop to play off of him.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. But you're right, though. Courtney B. Vance did a good job with what he was given in this.
Yeah, that's just like the character overall felt, a little overplayed, right? I agree with that. But if you just watched his scenes and only his scenes, like he was like trying to, and you're a casting director and you're only seeing these scenes and you haven't seen the movie, you'd be impressed.
Yeah. He's a good actor. I mean, you give a good actor that diet, but yeah, no, he crushed it. Hey, we haven't talked about Isaac's death yet. Do you want to?
God, I love Isaac's death. I feel a little badly that, especially today, not that it should be forgiven anymore back then, that he's a little racist and very misogynistic and everything. But I guess he gets what he deserves, right?
Is that so? I have a question for you. Like the gymnast death, she makes that baby fat comment, right? And then she dies. And then you have the other one who got into the argument with her. She's kind of a brat. She gets killed. Like, do you think it's the people who said rude things early on? Or this character, though, I didn't like him. Even though the actor did a good job. He felt out of place in this movie, did he not?
I don't know. I liked him. I think it's one of those things where it's like in real life you really might have that douchebag mixed in with these people. So I'll take it. But yeah, the cadence of his character, kind of like Courtney B. Vance's Agent Block, did kind of stand out, right? He seemed more like a magnification of a caricature than one of the characters in this movie.
Yeah, because you have very sensitive moments with these characters. And like little character pieces and people dealing with becoming a new boss and dealing with surgery and hugging teddy bears. And then you have this guy who's like, yeah, walk like that. I do want to see a buddy cop spinoff with him and the lady who gave him a massage. And I love when he realizes that she can speak English. He's like, oh, like he's not mad. He's like, oh,
right.
Respect.
1 billion Asians can't be Wong. Did you hear what I just said? Did you get that? Yeah, you got that. You like that. That was funny. Like, he was just such a caricature. And again, it's like he keeps saying things where like I want to like socially wince, even though I'm watching the movie like alone in my living room and there's no one around to see me